So anytime we're solving a trig equation, you only want to have one trig word in your problem. So of course we have two trig words, a sine and a cosine. Okay, so we're going to have to figure out some way to manipulate this equation so that we can get rid of either a sine or a cosine so that we only have one trig word. Okay, and we're going to do that by using a double angle identity. Okay, so the one we're going to use is the fact that 2 sine of x cosine of x equals sine of 2x. Okay, that's the double angle identity we're going to use because it has a product of sine and cosine in it. Now the only problem here is I don't have 2 sine cosines, I have 4 sine cosines. Okay, which isn't very hard. I know that 4 is actually 2 times 2. And hopefully you know that also. So instead of a 4, I'm going to write 2 times 2 because that is in fact mathematically equivalent. Okay, which is gorgeous because now look what I have. I have something that is replaceable. 2 sine x cosine x is also known as sine 2x. Okay, so I have effectively eliminated this double trig thing by replacing it with a single trig thing that happens to be a double angle identity. So now we're just going to solve this from left to right. So the first step is divide both sides by 2 right here to get rid of the product 2. That leaves me with a sine of 2x equals root 2 over 2. And now, working from left to right, we need to get rid of the sine. Okay, we don't divide, we don't subtract, we always inverse trig in order to get rid of a trig. So I take the inverse sine of the left side, which gets rid of your trig, sine, and I take the inverse sine of the right side. So on the left, I'm left with my 2x, okay, exactly what I want to have. Now on the right, we have to do some thinking. Okay, so this question is asking you where on the unit circle, so where from 0 to 2 pi is the sine value equal to root 2 over 2. Okay, and that is the answer to this question. One of them is at pi over 4. That is one angle on the unit circle where the sine is root 2 over 2. The other one is at 3 pi over 4, or 135 degrees. So there are two places between this interval as you go around the unit circle where the sine has a value of root 2 over 2. So we write down them both because there are two angles. Okay, so now we have a 2x, right? That was what was left when you got rid of sine. 2x equals pi over 4. Or 2 times some angle equals 3 pi over 4. Okay, so we're going to divide both sides by 2, and dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by a half. So rather than dividing a fraction by a number, I multiply by the reciprocal. And I find that the angle would either be pi over 8, or my angle would be 3 pi over 8. So there are two places between 0 and 2 pi where if I took 4 times the sine and the cosine, my answer would be root 2. There you go.